Hey, what's going on, my fellow Michigan football fans and fans of college football? I just wanted to come on today. Actually, now it's tonight. The day is it's fall, so day ends early, and now we're in the evening. So, good evening. So, I just wanted to come on and give some reaction to the Michigan football happenings and the college football happenings, and there's just a lot of happenings going on. And I'm gonna be joined by the Snowman once again. He's gonna ride shotgun. I'm gonna give a few words about what's happening with Michigan football, and then we're gonna talk about the college football playoff. That bracket was announced. Oh, Coach Antoine is here. Coach Antoine, I haven't seen you in like a minute. Coach Antoine, make sure you let us know and let me know what you think about any of this, about Team 145, about the quarterback situation, the Ohio State victory. Let me know what you think there as this whole thing goes on. He says, okay. He says, thank God we got rid of Kurt Campbell and got rid of his stupidity. Yeah, Antoine, I was thinking, I think Maize and Blue Mike wanted to keep Kurt Campbell, but I'm thinking, look, if you have the number one quarterback in next year's class coming in, a program-defining, a game-changing quarterback, you need that kid to be handled by somebody who knows what they're doing. And now you got Chase Herbstreit coming in too. So you need an offensive coordinator who's going to maximize the talent, who's going to coach the kids up, and he's going to coach all the kids up. He's going to be creative with his game plans. And yeah, I think that was a good move. And you know what? I know that the head coach is a CEO, but I wouldn't be averse to Sharon Moore going back to calling plays because he was pretty good with it with the veteran talent that he had the last 2 to 3 years. But anyway, Coach Antoine, it's good to see you. I'm going to play the intro and then I'm going to jump in. I think Snowman's going to show up at some point. Coach Antoine, if you can talk, I'll probably drop the link once me and Snowman get to talking. I know you work sometimes when during these streams, but I'm going to play this brief intro. I mean, the big news is that they've paired us back up with Alabama. So I wouldn't. I'd love for Bama fan to come back and troll my channel. Bama fan, yeah. For those of you who don't know, in the lead up to last year's historic Rose Bowl, they were like Bama fan. They were like hornets, swarming and stinging and trash talking. So anyway, we've been put back together in this bowl season with the Alabama Crimson Tide. The college football playoff has been seeded. Michigan is restocking for the future. So we're going to talk about it in this live stream. Go Blue. All right, everyone, welcome back to Big Discussions 76 Sports. Well, Coach Antoine knows who I am. For those of you who don't know, for any Bama fans who come in here, or for any Michigan football fans who come in here, my name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar. I am a Michigan alum, and I am a proud supporter of the Maize and Blue. Go Blue! All right, yeah. So this year started off pretty rocky. I don't think, yeah, I think that we all thought, if we ran lots of RPO, Coach Antoine is there in the chat. If we ran lots of RPO with Alex Orji, I think that the thought process going into this season was that we would be one of the 12 playoff teams. That didn't work out. Maybe Davis Warren stole the job over the summertime. Maybe Kurt Campbell and Sharon Moore were looking for Jack Tuttle to be the guy. And in that brief time, Jack Tuttle came in. He didn't separate himself when he turned the ball over. So we had a really good defense led by some NFL prospects. The offense, not so much, aside from Khalil Mullings and Colston Loveland. And so it wasn't the year that we expected or that we hoped for in the aftermath of winning the Natty in the 2023 and then 2024 playoff season. So here we are. So surprisingly, Michigan, as a surprise to me, they finished 7-5. Okay. And they qualified for a bowl. I didn't think that. I figured Michigan would finish 6-6 or 5-7, but they messed around and upset the Buckeyes in the horseshoe, which I didn't see coming. You can watch my last video. Thank you to everyone who watched that video. I was just hoping that Michigan would keep it close, but they messed around and won the game. Or perhaps Ryan Day choked the game away. Snowman is going to be here, but I'm going to play some drops in honor of Snowman. So there was a lot of talk in the aftermath of the game about what Ryan Day was thinking, and a lot of folks recalled the triple quote by Coach Harbaugh, who was now in the NFL.
Sometimes people that are standing on third base think they hit a triple, but they didn't. Thanks.
Okay, so but fortunately for Ryan Day, he's survived to live another day. Snowman didn't think that Ohio State would get put into the playoff. They were the one-time favorite to win the whole thing, so I didn't see how they wouldn't be put in the playoff, and they are in the playoff. So Ryan Day, I'm proud of Ryan Day. He has survived his critics. He's moved on. He's turned the page. That's what you have to do in life. And Ohio State has survived to live and fight another day, and they're still in contention for the Natty. All right, Antoine, I see a YouTube link there. Is that for one of our recruits? Let me know what you think. I'm going to read some of Antoine's comments here. He says, "What's up, Doc?" He says, "Thank God we got rid of Kurt Campbell and got rid of his stupidity." Yeah, Antoine, what did you think about, speaking of that, in the Ohio State game, when Michigan got the first down at the goal line and they had 4 downs to pound the ball into the end zone? What did you think about that pass play where Davis Warren threw the interception? I knew what they were trying to do. Kurt Campbell, he was thinking, okay, Ohio State's expecting us to pound the ball in the end zone, but I'm going to trick them and we're going to pass the ball in the end zone. And it would have worked if Davis Warren had just put a little bit more under that ball, but instead he threw it right to Jack Sawyer. Antoine, what did you think about that play call? Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of glad he's gone too, especially with the new guys we have coming in. Bryce Underwood being the main one, but now we have Chase, Herb Street as well. Antoine says Michigan needs to go after Kendrick Law from Alabama out of the transfer portal. Antoine says Michigan made a smart move to get the kicker back. Yeah, Zavada's coming back. I'm going to talk about that just briefly. Michigan needs to go after Miller Moss. Okay, so that's an interesting thing right there, because one of the questions is, do you give the reins right to Bryce Underwood as a true freshman, or do you bring in a vet to compete against him and to teach him a little bit? Because Miller Moss is ready to play right now. Bryce Underwood has to bulk up a little bit. He has to learn the playbook. He has to learn the college game. So this is a very good point right here. Miller Moss still consider coming to Michigan. Antoine says Michigan needs to get the kid from Alabama, Ty Haywood. He says Michigan needs to go after an offensive coordinator like Ben Johnson from the Lions, even though I know we can't get him. I was thinking we should go after someone like Andy Ludwig. Okay. And he says the link is for Kendrick Lamar, a receiver. Check him out. That's the link. All right. I'm going to load this up. Hopefully I don't get a claim, Antoine. He says, yeah, it was a good call, but you got a terrible quarterback. We virtually got nothing from Warren. You would have been better off running Orgy or handing it off to Khalil Mullings and just pounding it in there. Let me let's see. I don't see my guest in the chat. Okay, so a couple quick things. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the bowl game. Let's see. So Chase Herbstreit, that was big news. Kirk Herbstreit's kid, even though Bryce Underwood is coming, who is the big acquisition, Chase Herbstreit has decided to come as well. That's controversial because Kirk Herbstreit played for Ohio State. So I think the thought process would be that his kid would play for Ohio State, but maybe Chase Herbstreit knows something that we don't. So we're going to have a very different quarterback room next season than the one we had this year. We're going to have a much more talented quarterback room in terms of overall ability and throwing the ball, which is really where we struggled this year. So it's gonna be it's going to be a much younger and a more talented quarterback room next year. So Chase Herbstreit is coming. Jaden Denegal has entered the transfer portal. That made news this week. In addition to, I think, Tavier Dunlap, I think he's gone too. So, but Jaden Denegal didn't get much. Whatever happened in the spring and over the summer, he was unable to ascend in the quarterback on the quarterback depth chart and pass any of the other guys. And he didn't really have a good spring game, so he's transferring out. Antoine mentioned that Dominic Zavada, he's coming back. So part of Michigan's success from 2021 to 2023 was having a clutch kicker. So we're certainly gonna welcome him back with open arms. So Dominic Zavada's coming back. Mason Graham, as expected, declared for the NFL draft. Adam Schefter tweeted that, so he's already signed his agents. So in this bowl game, he's probably not going to play. I mean, since he signed with an agent and he doesn't want to get hurt. I haven't heard anything about Kenneth Grant. I haven't heard anything. Well, Will Johnson, we know he's not playing. Colston Loveland's probably not going to play either. So this game, so we just got word this week. We just got word after the playoffs, the 12 teams were seeded, that Michigan was invited to the ReliaQuest Bowl. Okay. And Sharon Moore, of course, there's him at the basketball game. Of course, we accepted that invitation to the ReliaQuest Bowl, and they interestingly matched us up with Alabama. So we will be playing Alabama again in postseason within 365 days, which makes this very unique. Both teams are very different. Both head coaches from the Rose Bowl are gone. JJ McCarthy's gone. Caleb Downs is gone from Alabama. So it's a bit of a rematch, but it's not a rematch. Okay. And I think, these were two teams that were left from the 12-team playoff, both with very, very rabid and highly supportive fan bases who will travel. So that's probably what they were banking on. But I think this is going to be more of a definitely more of an exhibition game, more so than ever. I mean, I don't know how many of Alabama's guys are going to pull out, or how many of their guys have entered the transfer portal, or I don't know how many of their guys are going to go declare for the NFL draft. But I think if Alabama comes to play this game, I don't see why they don't win. And I think the other thing is, someone pointed out that someone like Jaden Davis needs to get a lot of snaps in this game, so that we can at least see, so that Sharon Moore can at least see what he has there in that kid, because that kid is now competing for the starting quarterback position with Bryce Underwood. And if someone like Miller Moss comes in next season, Jaden Davis may not see the field. So I think in this game, I don't think it's that big a deal to play Davis Warren. But I think head coach Jerome Moore needs to at least see what he has with Jaden Davis. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bama wins this game pretty handily. A lot of our top defensive guys, they're going to be sitting it out because they don't want to get hurt for the NFL draft. And so I think this is definitely going to be a bit of an exhibition game. And who wins or loses, it doesn't really matter, at least not on our part. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to read. Antoine says, yeah, it was a good call, but you got a terrible quarterback. Okay, so I already read that one. And he says, and he can block. Okay, so the kid can run, he can block, he can return kicks. I want Michigan to play all of the up-and-coming talent. There you go. I don't care about winning. Get the players ready for next year. Sit the vets down. Yeah, I don't think Davis doesn't need to play the entire game. Davis doesn't need to play this game at all, in my opinion. And Antoine says, and yes, get Miller Moss. Don't depend on a freshman quarterback to get good right away, because depending on the system, you might have to be smart and ready, especially if the system is complicated. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. It would be good to have a veteran in here to compete for the position, maybe teach him a little bit. Yeah, and Antoine says Keyshawn Silver, Michigan is looking at him from Kentucky. He's a big nose tackle. Okay, so they're looking to reload, obviously, with veteran talent on that side of the ball on the line. Antoine says, look at Ohio State's offensive line and trench players. They're in trouble unless they go after some players. And if I'm Michigan, I'm recruiting the majority of the same players just to weaken them. Okay, let me see if my compatriot is coming. If not, this might be a little bit brief. Oh boy. And now this guy's here, who normally doesn't root for Alabama, but since he's here, let's give him a little old school Nick Saban. Let's give him a little old school Nick Saban.
Well, the number one thing for me, Nick Saban, whatever anybody thinks, is to be a good person. Honesty, integrity, loyalty, being fair and honest with people, has always been the trademark of what I've done.
Okay, that's for you, Abdul. And since you are rooting for Ohio State now, let's give you a little bit of Ryan Day love here.
Now, I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now. What he said about our team, I cannot believe.
Ryan Day, is your team tough?
This is a tough team right here. We're proud to be from Ohio, and it's always been Ohio against the world, and it'll continue to be Ohio against the world. But I'll tell you what, I love those kids, and we got a tough team.
Okay. One other thing. Why was Ryan Day looking for Lou Holtz? Please smash that like button if you haven't, everyone.
He has lost to Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Michigan twice, and everybody that beats him does so because they're more physical than Ohio State. And I think Notre Dame will take that same approach.
And we all know Notre Dame lost that game, but that drop will never, ever get old. Okay, I thought I had an AWOL snowman for a minute there, but guys, those are all my talking points. Snowman's gonna come, and we're gonna talk about the playoff a little bit, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll keep it nice and tight. Antoine, I don't know if you're working. Antoine, I'll drop the link if you want to come up as well. But I'm gonna since Abdul is here and Ohio State is in the playoff, we're gonna go back to we're gonna take it back to Brady Hoke a little bit, and then I'll bring Snowman up. Snowman, here's the link. But we're gonna bring Snowman in with a little bit of Brady Hoke.
We understand what Michigan football means and what Michigan football is. We will always be about the team at Michigan. This is never going to be about Brady Hoke.
Okay. And since Snowman didn't pick Ohio State to make the field, I'll play this one last drop, and hopefully he hits the link, and then he can come up and talk to us about the field.
But I was not a fan of that university in Ohio because my buddies were, so I had to be different.
Okay. I don't have the most sophisticated drops or animations yet, but Snowman inspired me to use those drops. Abdul, if you're still out there, let us know what you think about Ohio State's opening round game against Tennessee. It's historic. It's the first playoff game in the horseshoe. It's going to be at nighttime. It's going to be cold, right? What do you think about your Buckeyes, their chances of winning the whole thing? Okay. Antoine says, that sounds like rat poison coming from Nick Saban. Did you see old Saint Nick panhandling for Alabama, shaking his cup? No, I didn't see that. Okay, Snowman is here. Snowman is rattling Abdul's chain a little bit. He says, go Dogs. Antoine says, Lil Day needs more mace to keep them Wolverines away from him. Hey, Ryan Day, he's in it to win it, man. He has a second life. He's like a cat with 9 lives. Abdul Gaines says, Snowman, I will never root for a team whose head coach wears a bowl haircut like Georgia's head coach. Okay, let me play the Ohio drop one more time, and then I'll bring Snowman up.
But I was not a fan of that university in Ohio because my buddies were, so I had to be different.
All right, everybody, it's the holiday season. Let's welcome up the Snowman. What's going on, Snowman?
How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Great to be with you again.
Good to have you. All right. What are you? Okay, so Snowman, I have the field queued up right here, but you can pretty much take it and run with it wherever you want. But these are the 12 teams. I'll show this one here. Okay. So you have buys. Oregon has a buy. Arizona State has a buy. SMU has a bye, even though they lost to Clemson. Georgia has a bye. And then the opening games are Ohio State and Tennessee, Texas and Clemson, Penn State and SMU, and then Notre Dame and Indiana. So Indiana snuck in as well.
Mm-hmm.
What say you?
First of all, to Abdul saying he would never root for a team whose head coach wears a bowl cut like Georgia's head coach, where is Georgia and where is your Tide? I rest my case.
Well, so man, let me clarify something. I was playing the Nick Saban drop to troll him. He doesn't like Nick Saban. He never liked Alabama. He doesn't like the Alabama plays a weak opponent 12 games into the season. That was to jeer him a little bit. He's actually now an Ohio State guy.
Then he's really not going to like what I'm going to say next. Ohio State's going down. There are two things that Tennessee has that travels very well: a defense and a running game. Tennessee's got them both. And you think Michigan pulled a shocker in front of 102,651? Where do they paint that joint orange?
So Snowman, you're predicting Ryan Day is really going to go down in flames.
Ryan Day is not only going to go down in flames, they're going to sever ties with him. The only way he saves his job is to win this game on December 21st, and he ain't gonna.
Okay. Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor, is passing through. Thank you for being here, everyone. If you need advice on life insurance and all matters financial, this is your guy. Antoine says, Lil Day, this is his nickname for Ryan Day. He says, Lil Day got too much nervous energy to win, and that team don't trust him.
Nope.
Not only that the minute Ohio State does something bad, those crazy Buckeyes will boo the hell out of them. Okay,
Yep.
and then he says, I wouldn't want to play Tennessee and that run and shoot style offense. And then Abdul comes in with his retort and says, if Ryan Day loses in another cold weather game, especially against a Southern team, his ass needs to be fired on the field.
Uh-huh. See, they're giving Ohio State a second chance. All right. They're giving Ohio State a second chance by putting them in a place where they don't belong, which is in the playoff. Tennessee is going to show them the door fast.
Yeah, because I mean, Alabama wasn't elite this year, but Tennessee handled them, if I recall, and Tennessee's no pushover themselves.
Tennessee can run the football. Matter of fact, Alabama went over the state of Tennessee. They lost to Vanderbilt after beating Georgia, and they lost to Tennessee. Oh, and by the way, both of those were on the road.
Okay. Well, okay. So we're predicting an upset here in Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Why do you think they did put Ohio State in? Do you think it's because
brand recognition?
Brand recognition.
Pretty simple. It's brand recognition because there's going to be all kinds of hell to raise if Ohio State didn't get in the tournament. I referenced 2020. Ohio State didn't, well, there was one year that Ohio State, I want to say 19, did not play in a conference championship game, and they got rewarded. USC did play in a conference championship game, and they got punished. So they remember that, and they want to try to make it right. Huh, Pumpkin? See, even Pumpkin's agreeing that Tennessee, and look at the color of my cat here. See?
Orange. All right.
Yeah. See, I mentioned Tennessee. I mentioned orange. Here comes this big guy. So Ryan Day is cooked, and so are the Buckeyes.
Okay. Let's take a look at some other teams in the bracket. Are you surprised that Alabama didn't get in there?
Hell no. They lost three times.
SMU lost their championship game. They were rewarded with the 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Penn State lost to Oregon. They were rewarded with the 6 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. No. I'm confusing SMU with Boise. Boise's the third seed. Yep. SMU got rewarded with the 11th seed.
You know why SMU got rewarded with the 11th seed and Alabama didn't?
Why?
SMU played an extra game. We like to call it a conference championship.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Georgia and Texas gave us another classic, and Texas choked again.
Yeah, I thought when that freshman court, I guess I shouldn't assume that when an underclassman comes in, the offense is gonna sputter, but the offense actually moved better with him than the Georgia kid. Think
of the line of quarterbacks that Georgia's had the last 3 years.
Carson Beck. Yeah.
Think of the line of quarterbacks they got now. And you can start with their double national championship run. Stetson Bennett, Carson Beck, and now Gunnar Stockton. They're loaded. But Texas's big mistake, they gained 284 yards in the first half against Georgia in Georgia's backyard, and they only put up 6 points. Problem.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, at halftime, yeah, against Georgia, you have to against Georgia, you have to put up more than 2 field goals in one half.
You have to do what Mississippi did. You got to put them away early. Although Alabama thought they had Georgia put away early, and the next thing you know, Georgia rallies and has a 34-33 lead. So there is an outlier to every rule. But with Georgia, you got to sock them in the mouth early. Texas did not. They allowed Georgia to hang around, and the next thing you know, they get the first touchdown of the game, and it's a dogfight the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and credit to Joel Klatt early in the season. He did say, even though Alabama did upset Georgia early, he did say that Alabama would struggle down the stretch. They weren't a strong team. They just made some heroic plays in that game.
They barely struggled. They barely struggled to put up 35 points against Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt wore them out.
Okay. Please smash that like button if you haven't. Please subscribe, or should I say consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. Shout out to Bo Lytle. Respect is earned. All right. Here in the YouTube streets, Abdul Gaines says Ohio State is a worthy playoff team. More than anything, coaching holds them back. Don't lose to pudgy Josh Heupel Day.
They're not going to lose to him. They're going to get run over by him. Josh Heupel, quarterback. Josh Heupel, quarterback, one of the most explosive offenses in history at Oklahoma. All he did was put a little bit more emphasis on the running game at Tennessee.
Okay. Speaking of which, I mentioned earlier that Kirk Herbstreit's kid is coming to Michigan. Devin Brown is entering the transfer portal, so he doesn't want to play at Ohio State anymore.
Right.
So something's happening in Columbus.
Yeah. It's called Ryan Day.
Yeah.
It's called Ryan Day losing the locker room. You lose to your arch rival on your home field 2 of the last 4 years. And you have chances to win. You had a chance to, at the very least, tie that game. And hell, let's face it. And I don't want to say Michigan's a downtrodden team. They're the defending national champions. But they held a powerful Ohio State team to 10 points. They held a powerful, let me say that again. They held a powerful Ohio State team to 10 points. They showed more fight after the game than they did during the game, which is going to be Ohio State's downfall come December 21st against Tennessee.
Yeah, well, as a Michigan fan, I have to give Ryan Day and Chip Kelly credit for that loss too, because they called a dumb offensive game.
They outsmarted themselves.
So everybody, please smash that like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you're not. Snowman, you want to plug your channel really quickly? Halfway through.
YouTube.com/@Snowman Multimedia is where you can find me. And going to be doing a women's college basketball game tomorrow. Got Snowman in the morning. And if you all like the content, consider subscribing there. And if you can, also consider helping me helping this disabled broadcaster give Christmas to his family, because I'd love to do it for him this year.
Okay. Coach Antoine says, Doc, this is why I tell Michigan fans, stop rooting for a hard non-conference schedule. It makes no sense to play. The Big Ten is hard enough. Not to mention, you got to go through the championship game. You know, Antoine, I can see that logic now. I mean, in the days of the BCS, not so much. But now, yeah, I understand this logic now.
Yeah. Because who expected Oregon to come in and run roughshod through the Big Ten?
Abdul Gaines says, having Arch Manning sit on the bench for 2 years is insane to me. Texas is not starting the best quarterback on the roster. That will rear its ugly head again. Clemson upsets Texas in Austin. I'm going to read Antoine's comment. Go ahead.
I think not.
Okay, I'm going to read Antoine's comment, then I'm going to bring the bracket back up. Antoine says, Michigan baited them into that offensive play calling with 2 safeties over the top. It dictated that they should be able to run. They know Chip and Dip always does that. Chip and Dip. I see what you did there, Antoine. That was
and Antoine's right on the money. Antoine's right on the money. Now, back to Abdul Gaines. Abdul, you talk too much. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
He's passionate. He's a very passionate fan.
I am too, but at least I got eyes. I'm kidding, Abdul. I'm messing with you.
I'm going to bring the bracket back up, but let me just say this. He insisted. Okay, I'm sorry, Abdul. I got to do it.
Do it.
But he insisted that last year the Lakers were going to win their 18th banner. We can do a whole show on that. We're talking the college football playoff right now.
give me this button. Give me. He said what?
The Lakers were going to win their 18th banner last year.
First, I borrow from Al Michaels.
He did what?
Then I borrow from Paul Allen.
Are you kidding me?
And then I finish it with. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and the Celtics ended up winning it. Coach Antoine says,
"Can I put my cash up in the chat, sir? I
like
wanted to ask permission first."
Yeah, if anyone wants to donate to the Snowman, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask first, and do me a favor, please donate to this man also, because he's putting some great content out, not just sports, but everything. You know, I mean, he always plugs me, so I want to take the opportunity to plug him as well. You know,
well, so man, I appreciate that. I'm just happy to have the eyeballs, but yeah, if you want to, yeah. But Antoine's enjoying your candor. Okay. I guess Abdul didn't have a comeback for that. But he thought they were going to win their 18th banner, and Boston beat them to it. Okay, so that's Ohio State, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Then there's Texas, Clemson. 5-12. What do you predict there?
Texas. Easy.
Okay.
You really expect an ACC school to go into Austin, Texas in front of 100,551 and beat them in their house? Clemson is not Georgia. And Georgia ran over Clemson. Texas will do the same thing.
Okay. Abdul says, I said before that we are not talking about the Lakers right now. Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Abdul.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay. So Texas over Clemson. This will be an interesting one. SMU has to go into Happy Valley.
And they're going to win in Happy Valley.
But to me, Penn State's not a very strong team. I mean,
who's their coach?
James.
I rest my case. SMU will go in and hang 30 on them. 31.
Okay. Let's see. Antoine says, until Texas proves themselves, Texas always does the Texas thing and finds a way to lose. Remember last year with Washington.
Yeah, but what was hanging in the balance?
Well, that Washington team did have Penix and the Roma Dunze kids. They were pretty loaded too. So, in fairness to Texas, Abdul says Clemson has the better QB and two-time Natty winning coach. Dabo gets it done in Austin.
Excuse me, Abdul.
Hell no.
Riddle me this: if Cade Klubnik is the better quarterback, why couldn't he beat South Carolina in Clemson?
Abdul thinks Cade Klubnik is better than yours.
Let me say this again. If Cade Klubnik is the better quarterback, and I like Cade Klubnik, why couldn't he club South Carolina in his own house?
Okay, I'm going to bring it back up. So the last first round game is the Battle of Indiana, right there in your neck of the woods. So IU has to go into South Bend.
Mm-hmm. The only home team that's going to win is going to be Texas. There will be 3 road upsets. And I will say why I am picking Indiana in 2 simple words. Curtis Rourke.
Okay. So that would set up Texas, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
that would set up
Tennessee, Oregon.
I'm sorry, Tennessee, Oregon, and then
Texas would play
Texas,
Arizona State. It'll be the battle of the horses, in my opinion. SMU and Boise State.
That would be
And
pretty
then-
intriguing.
And then
Indiana,
Curtis
Georgia.
Rourke has to face Kirby Smart in Georgia. Ugh.
Okay, let me ask you this. Joe Klatt was tweeting same thing about this earlier. He said that the committee set Oregon up to lose. If I heard him correctly, by having to potentially play Arizona State in that I guess that would be the quarterfinal, the semifinal round.
Are you kidding me?
As opposed to having to play SMU.
Paul,
Are you kidding me?
should Oregon play Arizona State? And I love what Arizona State's done this year. Last team to have the ball will win that game. And Oregon, you have to catch them to beat them, which means you need to keep the ball, which means you need to possess the ball, which means you need to own time of possession. Every game this year, including the 3-point win in Madison at Wisconsin, Oregon has possessed the ball.
So you're predicting that game will be a shootout.
And if it doesn't go overtime, I'll be surprised. Should Oregon face Arizona State, it's going to be a madhouse. It's going to be a madhouse. It'll be the best. It'll be the best of the quarterfinal games. And I can't wait to cover it. I can't wait to cover any of these games because I am covering all of them. Starting Friday, December 20th, I'll be here in studio while the kids are battling it out in South Bend, Indiana, all the way through the national championship 1 month later at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. I will be in front of this microphone or I'll have my headset on, and I'm going to do all of them.
Okay. I'm going to bring the bracket back up. Who do you predict is going to win the whole thing? You think Oregon will go all the way?
I think Oregon will run the table. But Oregon will have to. Matter of fact, you know what?
What?
Let me just go through the whole bracket.
Okay.
8-9, Ohio State, Tennessee. Tennessee upsets Ohio State. Bye-bye, Ryan Day. 5-12, Texas, Clemson. It's in Austin. I have Texas. Penn State, SMU in Happy Valley. They're already calling for a whiteout, and they're going to get wiped out. SMU has the horses to run the ball, and they'll put 300 yards rushing on them. Notre Dame and Indiana, I have Indiana winning in front of Touchdown Jesus. And I already mentioned the reason, Curtis Rourke. To the next round we go. That means Oregon will face Tennessee, and Oregon will repeat the performance they had in Eugene in 2013 when they boat raced them. Arizona State will play Texas 4 versus 5, and I give the advantage to Arizona State. They have a bit of a better running game than Texas, although with that game, it'll be the last team that has the ball will win. The battle of the horses, Boise State and SMU, Ashton Genty. Enough said. Then you have 2 versus 10, and this is my bracket, folks. 2 versus 10, you have Georgia versus Indiana. I love you, Curtis Rourke, but that Georgia defense will be ready. They've learned their lessons throughout the year, which means I will have the top 4 seeds, Oregon and Arizona State. The first team to 60 will win that game, and I have Oregon. Boise State and Georgia, the first team to 70 will win that game because both of those offenses can play. Ashton Genty will get his yards, but Gunnar Stockton will have a surprise for Boise State. So by a very slim margin, I'll pick Georgia. And then your national championship will go Georgia and Oregon. And no, Oregon will not hang 65 on Georgia, nor will Georgia hang 65 on Oregon. But the first team to 55 will win that game in a close one in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And I got Dan Lanning and the Ducks pulling the upset on Georgia.
Okay. And those first round games are home games. So Oregon, so they're going to host. Georgia's going to host.
Yep.
SMU's going to host.
And Boise, and you ain't winning on the blue turf in Boise.
No, and then the semifinal round, that's those are going to be in bowls.
Mm-hmm. And then the big one at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. But there are going to be a couple track meets in the playoff this year. And they didn't set up Oregon to lose. They set up Oregon to win. Now, all Oregon has to do is just execute it. It's like Jim Durham said a long time ago. The execution is up to you. And these 12 teams, every one of them, are there for one reason and one reason only, to be the last team standing on January 20th in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is going to be a fun playoff.
I think so. It'll be the first one. We've never seen one like this before at this level. And yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. I mean, normally as a Michigan fan, I'd be disappointed. I mean, in a way, I'm disappointed that we're not in it. But I think we're rebuilding. So and we just won last year, so it's cool. If anybody watching live or on the playback wants to throw something in Snowman's Cash App, it's right here.
What do you think were a game or two games or any games that was telling the story from Michigan? For me, for Michigan, they were doomed after they lost to Texas at home, and they were also doomed when they lost to Illinois on the road. You beat Illinois, you're still in the playoff race.
Well, Snowman, I think we were all starting to get sick from the first game, seeing our anemic offense and seeing the lack of creativity.
Yeah.
And seeing Davis Warren turn the ball over 3 times and only throwing to Colston Loveland. So I think we all knew something was amiss early on in game one.
Mm-hmm. And you had talked about it too before you welcomed Texas to the big house. You said after week 1 something was amiss with all the turnovers and the miscues and the lack of execution by Michigan. I haven't seen this kind of Michigan team in a while because you're so used to seeing them execute well. And you said after week 1 that there was something wrong.
Well, here's the thing. Davis Warren, I mean, the kid, he's a folk legend now because he beat Ohio State, and that's cool.
Yes. Yep.
But I think one of the things Davis Warren has taught all of us is that you can call the right play, you can draw up the right play, but the quarterback has to execute the play.
Yep.
So in that Ohio State game, me and Antoine were talking about it earlier. Michigan got the ball on the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
I would have pounded it in 4 straight times. That's me. I'm conservative.
Pound it, man.
They called a pass play on first down. Davis Warren with just a little more touch. That would have been a touchdown because he would have thrown the ball over Jack Sawyer to the tight end, but he threw it right to Jack Sawyer.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, what are you doing? He threw it right to him. So you can call the right play. You can be as creative as you want. But I'm seeing now the players have to bring those skills to be able to execute the plays.
Jim Durham said it. The execution is up to you. You can have all the right plays designed and ready. The execution is up to you. Period. The execution is up to you. And this is where I work Penn State back into the conversation. The game they had against Ohio State. Why aren't you running the ball on 4th and goal? You're in your own house. You have a chance to tie the game. Why didn't you pound the ball 4 straight times?
Yeah, they did piss that one away, didn't they?
They sure did. And that's why they're going and that's why they're going to do the same thing against SMU. Because SMU, if there's one thing about SMU and teams that run the ball, They are patient. A running team is very patient.
Yeah. Antoine says we should have kept Orgy out there and ran the hell out of that ball, ran the hell out of that RPO, and just gave Orgy simple crossing route reads. Yeah, Antoine wanted Orgy as the starter back in the summertime, and he wanted the run intensive offense with the RPO and the crossing routes. He says Davis Warren is doo-doo. I blame half the Michigan fan base for trying to make us something we're not. Yeah, again, I'll say it. I'm partly to blame because I saw him throw that deep ball to Frederick Moore at the spring game, and I said, "Oh my God, Davis Warren's got an arm." But you need more than that to be a Division I starter, a great Division I starter, a championship Division I starter. You need more than a strong arm to do that. Antoine says, "Right, Snowman, you see the stupidity in Franklin."
It's been there the whole time he's been at Penn State. The only time he's been a coach where he didn't call any stupid plays was at the school that got him to Penn State, which was Vanderbilt. He took Vanderbilt to a bowl game, and Penn State drank the juice. And now, come December 21st, and all of Penn State is going to go, "Great googly moogly." I got 3 upsets in the first round.
Okay, we've got some Michigan fan talk here. Moose says, Antoine, why you always talking ish about Warren? Well, Moose, he threw that interception to Jack Sawyer when he could have floated the ball over him. I'll let Antoine answer. Antoine laughs, and Moose says, "You still mad? I was right about him starting."
Yeah.
See, I don't know if Moose is trolling right now or what, but Antoine, you can go ahead and.
I hate to push this button, but I have to. But I know a lot of Michigan fans will agree with me when throughout the course of this year, and you look at a lot of the games, you were sitting there shaking your head going,
"What in the all types of blue hell
are they doing?"
Yeah. Antoine says, ask him how many interceptions does Warren have and how many times did Orgy lose? Always. And then Moose says, Antoine said Orgy and RPO with 4 tight ends would be unstoppable. Okay, I think Moose is digging in his heels here. He's serious.
He is. By the way, I have this for Alabama. And Miami. But Miami played themselves when they lost to Syracuse.
Oh, in that last game?
How do you go in the Carrier Dome? I don't care what they call it now. How do you go in the Carrier Dome? Lead 21-0. You basically have a showcase game for Cam Ward to prove why he deserves even a little bit of consideration for the Heisman. And that happens.
Well, Kyle McCord had a career game too, which was funny because Ohio State blamed him last year for losing to us. And it turns out the kid is a gamer.
Yes, he is.
So, okay. But Miami was in contention during the season, and they went belly up.
They went belly up at Syracuse. Does that tell you anything? They're not ready. And they're not going to be ready until they get a new coach.
Okay. So Moose, you were all in for Davis Warren. He says, Orgy can't throw or run, dude. Should be playing linebacker. He says, you're still mad I was right, LOL. Get over it, bro. I love sports fans, man. Snowman, do you love sports fans? Sports fans.
They are fun to mess with. I love that when they mess with me right back, and they're fun to talk to.
Yeah.
I love it.
You know, quarterback is bad when he has more interceptions than touchdowns. Get the F out of here, Moose. Okay. He says that he can
Quarterback
still
having
throw a
more
pass.
having more interceptions than touchdowns. Caleb Williams, anybody?
And he can still throw a pass longer than 10 yards. LOL.
Unlike Cameron Jarrell Newton. I'm sorry, did I say that aloud?
Okay. Well, Snowman, do you have anything else you want to say? You want to plug your channel one more time?
YouTube.com/@snowman multimedia. Tomorrow it's women's basketball and the battle for the Cyhawk Trophy as the Iowa State Cyclones will travel to Carver Hawkeye Arena to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. I'll have the alternative play-by-play beginning at 8:30 Eastern time.
Okay. Yeah, everybody. Snowman does sports for a living. I do this periodically, but he does it daily.
Mhm.
So if you want your sports fix, go check out Snowman. Expert analysis, lots of drops, lots of hardcore analysis. So I'll be covering the playoff too. Well, man, they should have put this bowl game the day before. I was gonna drive somewhere on the 31st, but now I gotta stay where I was to watch the Reliant Quest Bowl.
Well, you know they're not going to do that. That'd be too much like right to have some of these lower bowl games be before the playoff.
Yeah.
Come on, what are we talking about here? Money.
We're
talking about money, and Michigan's a brand draw in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you get a rematch from 2000. You get a rematch from 2000 with Michigan and Alabama? Come on now.
Yeah. And the Rose Bowl, this year.
Mm-hmm. It took me a long time to learn this. I still cover sports for a living, and I always will. But I mostly look at it from the sports aspect. Something I've learned from BGS and a couple of others, my wife included, you got to look at it from the money aspect also. This is too easy. This is too easy to figure out.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to read a few more of these before you go. They are really dueling here.
Oh yeah.
He says we didn't need Orgy to throw you, dummy. He wasn't right because of you. We lost games we should have. Moose must work at Schembeckler Hall. Antoine says that's why Kurt Campbell doesn't have a job now.
Right.
Do we have an unemployed offensive coordinator? And we should unemploy your ass
as a fan.
And Moose says, Antoine, when you said Orgy with the RPO and 4 tight ends would be unstoppable, I stopped taking you seriously. And then Antoine says, because of people like Moose, we have an unemployed offensive coordinator we should unemploy your ass as a fan. Moose says, goofy ass. Okay. And he says, Orgy couldn't throw. LOL. That was the problem. Okay. All right, Snowman, this could go on all night. Do you have anything else you want to say?
I have an upset for the Heisman Trophy.
I forgot all about the Heisman. That's the Saturday, right?
Yep. Everybody's picking Travis Hunter. I am not. I'm picking Ashton Jeanty from Boise State.
Why are you picking him over Travis?
Showcase game Friday night. He's averaging 191 yards rushing. He went for 209 in the Mountain West Championship. The Heisman Trophy should be the most valuable player to their team. Travis Hunter needs to decide which side of the ball he's going to play. And granted, he can do both very well. And granted, he did lead the team in receptions. That's because they didn't have a choice. When you go over the state of Kansas and you nearly lose to Boise State, yes, you should get some consideration, but Ashton Jeanty has this team in a place where Colorado is not. That's the playoff.
Okay. So you're picking Ashton Jeanty.
I'm picking Ashton Jeanty.
Okay. All right, everybody, you're hearing it here. The Heisman Trophy this Saturday night in New York City. Abdul's back. He says,
of course.
He says, I don't want a player from a league that's barely above Harvard Cup winning the Heisman. So, Snowman, the Harvard Cup, that's our high school basketball league in Buffalo. I mean, our high school football league.
Yep.
That's our high school football league. He says the most outstanding player in America is Travis Hunter. All right. Since he came back, Snowman.
Hell no.
Abdul,
what's your thought on that? And also Coach Prime in Colorado going forward.
First of all, Abdul,
Hell no.
he's the most hyped player this year. Can he play the game of football? Absolutely. I'm not saying otherwise. He's an outstanding athlete. All right. I said this about a certain player on the Lakers, but I will table that discussion for later. Travis Hunter is an outstanding athlete. You have to be a great athlete if you can play both sides of the ball. However, Travis Hunter needs to work on being a football player. That's what Ashton Genty is. And again, Ashton Genty has Boise State somewhere Colorado only dreams to be. That's in the playoff.
Okay. Now, with Coach Prime losing Shador and losing Travis and those kids he brought with him, what do you see in the immediate future for Colorado?
Good luck. He's already repaid the state of Colorado, and they've already paid him. Now you need to get some recruiters.
Okay.
And if Coach Sanders does it right, he can recruit the entire state of Colorado before Colorado State even sniffs a recruit. You got the name recognition out there. Colorado football is back. Use it to your advantage.
Okay. Abdul, this could go on all night long. Abdul says Travis Hunter is an outstanding player on both sides of the ball. He's a first-round pick on both sides of the ball. It's easy to compile stats when you are facing McKinley and Burgard every week. Those are two high schools from Buffalo, our hometown. So he's taking some shots at Boise.
I depart with this. Dear Abdul Gaines, Boise State is somewhere Colorado wishes they could be. That's in the playoff. Hell, they mess around and do it right. Boise State may be somewhere that a lot of people pick Colorado to be. That's in Atlanta on January 20th.
All right, I think we'll cut it there. We'll cut it there.
To Abdul and Antoine and the rest of the bunch in the chat, thank y'all for coming up. Thank y'all for tuning into this show tonight, and thank you, my friend, for having me. I really, really appreciate you having me tonight.
No problem, man. You're a sports aficionado, so, and it's good to have someone to talk to as opposed to talking yourself all the time. So,
Yes.
which I can do, but it's. Yeah,
This is more fun. I appreciate you, man.
I think Abdul appreciates that too. He says Boise plays in the Harvard Cup. They are a lucky CFP. Lucky the CFP gave them a handout. Okay. All right, Abdul. We're gonna cut it there. All right, Snowman. Yeah, I'll be in touch, man.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. I'm gonna wrap this up. I have to go and make the donuts in the morning myself, and I have some other things to do here. So thank you for watching me and Snowman talk back and forth, and Antoine and Moose. I appreciate you guys dueling there. That's all good for engagement. So yeah, so I will over these following peace, Antoine. Thank you for coming through, and for the rest of the year as the playoff goes on and leading up to our bowl game, I will come back and make content. So you will see me some more in the near future. So please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're watching on the playback, please like this stream. And with that, Sharon Moore and coaching staff, let's see what we have for the next year. I mean, Davis Warren doesn't need to take all the snaps in this game. We need to see what Jaden Davis has, because he's going to be competing with Bryce Underwood next year and whoever, and Chase Herbstreit and whatever veteran quarterback they bring in from the transfer portal. And yeah, it's going to be an exhibition game. And yeah, let's get ready for Team 146. And hopefully next season, perhaps we'll be in the 12-team playoff discussion. Coach Antoine says, we don't need doo-doo. I hope Moose is gone. He said, we don't need doo-doo to throw nothing. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Go blue. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.